After this video, you will know if you're the right person to study abroad in Latin America and where to go. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam and I'm an expat in Colombia. Our mission is to help expats or soon-to-be expat to start their journey, avoid gringo prices and settle down hassle-free. You are a student and looking to study abroad, but you don't really know where to go because they're like Australia, Europe, Southeast Asia, China, or if you're from Europe or outside of the US, maybe the US could be a place for you to study. Or maybe you have the idea to come to Latin America. Probably you heard a lot of stories about Latin America and you don't really know, or maybe are even a little bit worried if you should come to Latin America to study. I would like, with my opinion, to help you to figure out if Latin America could be a place for you to study. So Latin America is a very large area. Which places are really the best to study abroad? Here are our top 9 destinations to study in no particular order. First up is Mexico City in Mexico, which is located in the Altiplano, so high region and not on the beach. Especially in winter it can be a little chilly, but otherwise a very good choice. Buenos Aires in Argentina is in the southern hemisphere and a large city with good universities. If you look for something in the same area and don't like that kind of a big city, then Montevideo in Uruguay, which is one ferry trip away from Buenos Aires, is maybe the right place for you. If you like lush terrain and volcanoes, maybe San Jose could be for you. San Jose is a big city in Costa Rica, and the famous La Fortuna area with the nearby volcano is around San Jose. Another place which is more developed could be Chile, in Santiago de Chile. Another big city with a lot of universities. Then the only real beach place in our top 9 would be Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And this is also the only place in our list that you have to speak Portuguese instead of Spanish. Then another town high in the mountains of the Andes is Quito in Ecuador, with a lot of universities, but the city itself is not too big. Then if you really like hot weather, then Panama City may be something for you in Panama. A very developed city with great infrastructure, but not too big as well. And if you want to come to Colombia, here where we live, you can go either to Bogota or to Medellin. We are currently located in Medellin. Bogota is a little bit higher up in the Andes and is a little bit colder than Medellin. And Medellin, of course, is famous for its spring-like weather all year long. So you will have 75 to 85 degrees or 25 to 30 degrees Celsius all year round with lots of things to do. So this list was very brief. If you like more detailed description, look in our other videos. There will be a lot of videos coming up where we explain which city has which types of things to offer. And if you're unsure about the details of your trip, if you're not quite sure, should it be, I don't know, Quito, or should it be Bogota, or here in Medellin, hit us up. We offer specifically for that kinds of question a Skype call. So you don't go to a place where you have to say, oh no, I did a mistake. I should have chosen a place that is warmer or a place that is bigger, because here in Latin America, there are a lot of things to consider. With our Skype call, we'd like to help you to figure out your best destination so you can have a great time when you're studying abroad. So are you really the right person to study abroad? Of course, studying abroad is not for everybody. You need to be a little adventurous, at least. You need to be adaptable, so you have to adapt to new cultures and be open for new things. Then you're surely a candidate for studying abroad. But if you just want to come here because it looks good in your resume, probably this is not the place you want to go to. You're probably better off to go somewhere like China. This will look way better in your resume. And to come here to Latin America, you need a passion for the Latin culture. At least that's what I think. Then what about your language skills? Do you already speak some Spanish, or maybe if you want to go to Brazil, Portuguese? Because most of the countries I mentioned in the top 9 list will require at least some Spanish knowledge. The only one exception I can see here is Panama City, because it's quite developed and a lot of Americans are in Panama City already. So the menu and all the kind of stuff is really made for foreigners. So you should be good off in Panama City with not too much of a Spanish skill. So of course the stories you hear about Latin America is, yeah, it's very dangerous, people get killed on the street and everything like that. We have a lot of videos about safety in Latin America, but briefly here what you have to consider as a student is really that you're not the dumb gringo. Don't go out, flash your stuff, know where you are going, and also Spanish skills will help a lot. Dress like a local, that's one really important thing as well. And if you follow all of these rules, you should be okay. If we can do it, you can do it as well. What you will study and what you will learn. Unfortunately, studying and learning is, as we know, not the same thing. So if you come here to Latin America to study, you can either study Spanish, that's what a lot of people do, they just take Spanish classes and nothing else. If your Spanish is sufficient to take other courses, you can take courses like in business, communications, health and all that kind of stuff. Or there are a lot of universities with English programs as well, so you can study business, communications, health, whatever, in English as well. But you have to check with the university you want to go to if they have this course available. But what you really will learn is communication in other language, like Spanish here in Colombia. You have to adapt in a new culture, so this will broaden your worldview in a form you couldn't even imagine. You can learn other activities like dancing, sports you maybe don't know in your home country, or going out here is on a completely another level, trust me. And these are the things you will really learn here. Really, that's the adaptation to another culture and broaden your worldview. This will help you so much more than anything you'll learn in any university. So what are other facts you have to consider? One thing you have to consider is the time of year you want to go. Of course, you have to schedule that with your existing schedule, with your existing plans, or of course with your university. But one thing you have to consider here is also the weather. So of course in our home countries, probably the US and somewhere in Europe, you have the seasons. There could be an issue here in Latin America as well, because just because it's Latin America doesn't mean that the weather is great all year round. And another thing you have to consider is of course your budget. I saw like the prices on the internet are like 3,000 to 30,000, so it really depends. You will go 2 months, 1 semester, a whole year. It really depends. You have to look into that. Of course, this is a big factor. And another thing is if you want to homestay or if you want to go to a dorm. Of course, homestay is usually cheaper and it will really help you immerse yourself in the culture even more. You will probably be forced to speak Spanish or Portuguese, whichever country you decide to go to. And of course, the dorm is a little bit more privacy, a little bit more probably of a party time than if you're with a family and spend like dinners with them instead of spending dinners with your dorm mates. And a bonus tip here is if you have to convince yourself or your parents financially, cost of living here is so cheap. Like we pay, I don't know, $3 for a meal. Accommodation is very inexpensive, especially if you're doing homestay. So you're probably able to save money if you come here and study here. Instead, if you stay in the US or you stay in Europe, it will be maybe a third or half of the cost of the living costs you will have. So maybe you can convince your parents or maybe yourself about the financial aspect of studying abroad. Then all in all, if you're an adventurous type of guy, if you have a little bit of language knowledge like Spanish or Portuguese, and you're really eager to learn another culture, especially Latin American culture, and really want to take something else away, that student credits or a part in your resume that states I've visited Latin America, then you're not only welcomed here in Latin America, but it will be a great experience you will never forget in your life. And if you consider to come to Colombia, especially Medellin, hit us up, let us know, and we can get in contact. We can help you here with settling down, everything outside from the university. And don't forget, if you have any specific questions to book our Skype call, you can book it today. The informations are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and if the video helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe.